Massive concerns over privacy and personal data loom as Sanchar Saathi becomes optional for Indian smartphones. The Department of Telecommunications, DOT, has ordered Indian phone makers and importers to pre-install a state-developed cybersecurity app called Sanchar Saathi. The app is designed to help users report fraudulent calls, messages, and lost or stolen mobile devices. While the initial directive suggested the app could not be deleted or disabled by users, Telecom Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia clarified on December 2 that installation is optional. Scindia stated that deleting the app is allowed and not mandatory. If a user chooses not to use it or register for its services, the app will remain dormant and can be removed at the user's discretion. He emphasized that many citizens may not be aware of the app's existence or its purpose in protecting against digital fraud and theft, and asserted that making it accessible to everyone is the government's responsibility. In addition to pre-installing Sanchar Saathi on all new devices, the DOT has required a software update for already sold phones to include the application. Reuters first reported the directive. Here's an overview of what's known so far. What the DOT announced. The DOT issued the directive on November 28 under the Telecommunications Cybersecurity Amendment Rules, 2025. The move sparked debates about privacy and surveillance, because it effectively removes a user's ability to opt out or remove the app if it comes pre-installed. Critics argue that the app would need system-level, or root-level, access to function, potentially making it hard to disable. They warn that such a design could erode normal safeguards that prevent one app from accessing another's data, turning Sanchar Saathi into a constant, non-consensual gateway inside the operating system of every Indian smartphone. Advocates of digital rights have also flagged concerns about the app's privacy policy and the scope of data access. Some open-source app testing services have highlighted red flags in the permissions requested by the app. This marks the first time the government has mandated the installation of a state-backed app on consumer devices. While similar mandates are uncommon in many Western democracies, Russia has recently directed pre-installation of a state-backed messaging platform, MAX, which critics say could enable tracking. During the finalization of the Telecommunications Act in 2023, concerns were raised that the law could potentially broaden to cover online platforms. Although the government said overlaps would not occur, the cyber rules grounded in the Act are now used to direct tech companies. How Sanchar Saathi views privacy and data access. A closer look at the data Sanchar Saathi can access, along with red flags noted by a prominent open-source app testing service, is as follows. Registration with a phone number is mandatory and happens automatically on Android devices without explicit user consent. Features require mandatory registration using the user's phone number to identify the mobile number using the app's services. On Android devices, registration can occur automatically, as the app detects the active number and sends an automatic registration message to the DOT. On iOS devices, users must manually send the registration message. The directive has raised concerns among smartphone manufacturers, who argue that it would require significant operating system-level changes. Privacy concerns stem from the government backing of the app. Critics worry about blanket exemptions for the state under India's Data Protection Act and about potential centralized control over Internet use. What Sanchar Saathi can access on users' phones. On Android devices, the app seeks several permissions, including make and manage phone calls, to identify numbers on the device. Send SMS, to complete registration by sending an automatic message to the DOT. Call SMS logs, to report calls or messages within the app's framework. Photos and files, to upload images of calls or messages when reporting, or to document lost or stolen devices. Camera, to scan the MEI, the device's unique identifier, for authenticity checks. On iOS devices, the app does not request permissions to make or manage calls or automatically send texts. Apple's guardrails appear to limit those capabilities, with iOS permissions limited to access to photos, files, and the camera. Sanchar Saathi's data collection and privacy policy. Independent analysis of the Android APK by the Mobile Security Framework, MobSF, indicates the app can perform a range of tasks related to user data, including taking pictures or videos, reading call logs, accessing external storage, and querying device identifiers and call context. These permissions are categorized as dangerous. The app's privacy policy states that personal data is not automatically captured without prior notification, and that information will only be collected for stated purposes with adequate security measures to protect it. It also states that personal data will not be shared with third parties unless required by law enforcement. However, the policy leaves several standard privacy items unaddressed. It does not explicitly outline user rights such as data access, correction, or deletion, and it provides no opt-out mechanism. It's unclear how long the app retains any data it accesses. In official developer statements on the Apple App Store and Google Play Store, the DOT claimed the app does not collect user data. That assertion conflicts with observed behavior, including the collection of numbers during registration, photos, and call SMS logs. Questions for the DOT remain unanswered as this article goes to publication. Bottom line for users and critics. The Sanchar Saathi rollout raises fundamental questions about privacy, consent, and the balance between public safety and individual rights. While the minister describes it as optional, the practical impact is complex, given mandatory pre-installation on new devices and a required update for existing devices. If robust safeguards and clear, user-friendly controls are and remain in place, the program might gain more trust. Without them, it risks fueling ongoing debates about surveillance, data security, and government access to personal information. Would you opt to keep Sanchar Saathi pre-installed and register to use its services, or would you prefer to decline and disable it? What privacy guarantees would you need to feel comfortable using a government-backed safety tool like this? Share your thoughts in the comments.